Hi, my name is Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found me. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Today, I want to have a conversation about creating good habits. Now, I know in the past I've always talked about bad habits. Today I want to talk about good habits, right? Why it's essential to create a good habit. Have you ever looked at someone, right? And it just seems like they have it all together. Their life, their health, their relationship, even finances. And you probably wondered, how the heck do they do it? Right? You probably thought to yourself, they must be super disciplined, or they must just be born that way, or even lucky. But the truth behind most successful, peaceful, and purpose-driven lives are superhuman traits. Nope, that's not it either. But I could tell you one thing that is: being super consistent in their habits. Habits are invisible, right? It's the thing that is surrounded, or I would like to say it's the architect of our daily lives. Wouldn't you agree? They're the small decisions that we actually make and the small actions that we take repeatedly. Whether we realize it or not, our lives today are essentially the sum of our own habits, our physical health, our emotional resilience, our financial situation, and even our spiritual depth are all shaped by the things that we do consistently. And that's why creating good habits isn't just a productivity hack or even a New Year's resolution. It's the fundamental practice in creating a life of purpose, alignment, and lasting joy. Do you have that? Are your habits good? When's the last time you even paid close attention to your daily routine and habits? I think if you haven't looked at it in a while, maybe it's time you do. Because a habit is a behavior that, through repetition, becomes automatic. It starts with a cue or a trigger. And I talked about this before, the triggers, which leads to our routine, our behavior, right? So I believe that loop repeats enough times becomes embedded in our subconscious mind. Our habits will bypass the need for willpower, so to speak. And you know that's true. You drive to work and how did you get here so fast? Because the body took over with the habit and your mind was like drift off and spaced out somewhere. Think about it. When you automatically brush your teeth, make your bed, or even check your phone in the morning, that's your brain conserving energy. That's right, energy. The problem is, this energy saving mode isn't distinguished between good or bad habits. It's just automatic, right? It automates everything that we do consistently. Whatever you feed it repeatedly. That's why it's always not, I would say, I've always talked about breaking bad habits. But today I'm going to say, instead of breaking a bad habit, why don't you replace it with a better habit? Something that's going to serve you, something that's going to be more empowering. Because if you don't intentionally program your habits, guess what? Circumstances will. And you may not be, I tell you, you may not like if circumstances create your habits, because it'll be on default. And you know, sometimes when we do things on default, it ain't all good. So why do we need a good habit? Habits have a compound effect. I want you to understand that. Doing little small things consistently over a period of time may not look like much today, right? But over weeks, months, even years, it can completely change your life. And case in point, say you read 10 pages of an empowering book or something that's going to teach you something. You do 10 pages a day, right? Doesn't sound like much. But until you've read 12 to 15 books in that year, now all of a sudden, you've been educated. Saving $5 today might not seem like a lot to you until you have thousands saved up in a couple of years. But you know, the funny thing is, just as good habits can compound And so can bad habits compound too, in the other direction. So check this out. For instance, I always talk about my weight, right? And anybody who knows me knows that I have a thing for eating cookies. Yes, I do. And of course, I will eat cookies all the time. So I went a period of maybe a year, probably a year without cookies, or I would say solidly 8 to 9 months without cookies. And then I've lost all this weight. And then I realized, okay, my sugar was going real low. And I know they have medications to help you raise your sugar. And I realized something. I said, wow, my sugar really going low. And it's at 60 right now at night. And I'm like, I don't want to really go into a diabetic coma. So I started eating like 5 cookies a night. Now, remember when I said things compound, you know where I'm going with this, right? I wind up gaining an extra 10, 12 pounds. And it shows. I'm like, holy smokes. And the sad thing about it is I was going to the gym at least 3 to 4 days out of a week. But something happened and I had to step out of the gym for at least 2 months. In that 2 months, I've gained 12 pounds. So you can see, we can do this. We can have a bad habit and not think, 5 cookies tonight is not going to harm me, but compounded 5 cookies every other night or every night. Now the damage is being done. It's being compounded. And the same thing with a good habit. If you have a good habit, it's going to compound you. If you decide to do something good, like eat a fresh fruit that had a little more sweet in it, and I've been okay, right? But no, I chose to eat the cookies because I knew it raised my sugar and it'll last through the night. All right, so I digressed. I'm sorry, but you get the point, right? One of the most powerful aspects of habits is that they don't just change our actions. What habits do you have? Because actions and the change that will happen will also reshape your identity. And I'll say that again. Your actions and your habits will also reshape your identity. When you consistently exercise, you're not just someone who works out. You become a healthier person, right? When you journal daily, now you're becoming more of someone who reflects. Your habits is all about reflection, right? Telling your story, building your story, telling yourself about who you are. So that's why it's always good to have a good habit. And if you have any bad habits, start making the necessary actions or taking the next necessary actions to start changing those habits. When your life hits a hard peak and things are not going your way, your habits become your anchor. And I don't know if you ever experienced this, right? You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, your habits. In times of grief, heartbreak, job loss, or burnout, habits are like journaling, praying, meditating, or walking outdoors. You literally hold yourself together with your habits. They're your anchors. And if they're not good, I'm sorry for you. Case in point. Let's say you like to have a drink every now and then. And, things got a little hectic for you today, so you decided to have another drink. And let's say next week, now, instead of having one drink, probably over the weekend, you had another drink because you had, 2 hectic days. So you probably drunk 2 drinks that week. And then on the weekend, you probably have your social time. Now you had 3. Now over a period of time, let's just say something happens, you're really going to go to that alcohol. Why? Because it's your crutch. It's what you're going for when things get a little rough. So you can change that. Instead of going to the alcohol, you can do something different. You could find a strategy that will help you, whether it's, and I'm going to be honest with you. When things got so hectic for me, I used to go to the gym and work out. Yes. And then I'm going to be transparent with you here. When my wife passed, yes, I had more than a few drinks. But then I started saying to myself, this is not who I am anymore. This is when I was young, yes, I'll drink all day long with you. But this is not me. I don't drink. So I'm not about to start again. This is what I'm telling you. Our habits, sometimes when things get hard, things get really hectic for us, they're like anchors, right? Your habits become your anchor if you let it. You can let the good habits be your anchors instead of the bad habits. When you build routines around your physical health or productivity or mental clarity, your brain is being freed up to focus on much deeper work, vision, strategy, creative, love, whatever it is. You're not wasting energy deciding whether or not to go to the gym or if you should eat healthy or eat a healthier lunch or breakfast. It's already a habit, and that mental clarity becomes a massive advantage to you. It takes time. You're not going to do this just overnight. You don't just rise to the level of your dreams. You rise or fall to the level of your habits. Your environment begins to reflect in the inner order of your disorder in your life. Good habits create better order. Bad habits, they create chaos, procrastination, confusion. You get my point? I'm trying to get you to see that habits are not bad. It depends on which spectrum are you on, the B side or the good side. Let's flip the coin for a moment. What happens when we don't form intentional habits? We drift, right? And drifting always leads us away from what? Growth. When you don't intentionally create the life you want, you unintentionally inherit the life someone else designed for you or the world designs for you. You respond to life instead of creating it. You live in reaction, not creation. And believe me, I know I'm talking from experience. So I'm hoping that you might listen. So it's better to be the director of everything about you, your habits, your dreams, your future, whatever it is. Direct yourself. Let's be clear. Good is relative to your values, purpose, and a season of life, right? But in general, good habits are the ones that align your values, move you toward your purpose, create peace or clarity, and might even increase your energy and focus, strengthen your relationships, or even build confidence and integrity. A good habit may be a small something that's making your bed, because I know a lot of people don't make their beds. That's the first thing I do, actually, make my bed or have a glass of water in the morning, right? It may be something as spiritual as meditating for 10 minutes or reading a sacred text, or as practical as tracking your expenses of reviewing your goals for the week. The key is not the habit itself. I want you to understand it's how you're being supportive within that habit and how the habit supports you in building your life. So what will you do with your habits? When's the last time you've taken a look at your habits? One of the biggest myths is that you don't need to try harder, but relying on willpower is like using a phone with 5% battery to navigate the cross-country road trip, isn't it? I can tell you this, the real magic happens when you design your life in such a way that good habits are easy, automatic, and rewarding. That's why structure, systems, and accountability are the best friends in building a better life. I want that for you. So all you have to do, I know it may sound like a little ridiculous if you never really taken a look at your own habits, and personal development is part of that. Being self-aware is part of looking at what do I do? What habits do I have? It's all about asking questions and wanting to learn the correct answers. You want to learn about yourself on a much deeper level. Start with a habit that's so easy you can't fail. Want to journal every day? Start write one sentence. That's it. One sentence every day, right? You think that'll work? You want to exercise? Just try stretching for just 5 minutes in the morning. It doesn't matter. Believe me when I tell you, it'll take on a whole new level and a whole new intensity. And it would also become a great habit and you'll watch yourself grow in a way that you'll be asking yourself, why didn't I start this earlier? Because half the time we don't do things is because we're lazy, and we're the first ones to tell you, oh, I'm not lazy. But yeah, because if you have something in life that you don't like about something that you're dealing with, you're choosing to accept it instead of change it. You're accepting. So anchor your habit to a cue if you have to. Use the habit stacking method. Link your new habit to something you already do. For example, after I make coffee, I'll write one line in my journal. So you can sit down with your coffee and take out your journal and write one line in your journal. After I brush my teeth, let me do 1 or 2 push-ups. It's easier to do it that way. It's easier to ride an existing wave than to create a new one from scratch. So try that. Set it clear, no matter where you are, no matter when. Believe me when I tell you, if you need to meditate, just say, you know what? I'm going to meditate for 2 minutes. It'll take on a method of its own every single day if you be consistent with it and watch yourself grow in a more peaceful manner. And through your meditation, you'll have a whole lot more clarity. So I just wanted to share that with you, right? And I know I've been on this podcast for about 18 minutes now, so you got to make whatever a good habit you have, just make it satisfying. Your brain needs a reward to reinforce the habit, so just remember that. Celebrate your small wins, check off the habit tracker, or if you don't have one, create a habit tracker. Say, I'm proud of myself, I'm doing good, or whatever you have to do to make this a reality for you. Feel the joy of completion. And that's what it's all about. It creates an emotional glue that will help you stick to whatever it is that you're trying to make that new habit, right? And then make your good habits easy and your bad ones hard. Want to eat healthier? Put fruit in sight. Want to work out in the morning? Lay out your clothes, your sneakers. Want to stop dooming, or what they call doom scrolling? Log out of your social media and set limits. So use a habit tracker and or calendar, if you will. Seeing your progress builds momentum, and it gives you a reason to keep going. Don't break the chain. And if you do, start a new chain immediately. No guilt required. You don't need to guilt bash yourself and say, God, I got to start all over. No, just go ahead and say, wow, I'm glad I could bounce right back, right? So you want to do that instead of, I want to run 5 miles. I'm becoming a runner. You don't have to say, I want to run 5 miles. Just say, I'm becoming a runner. Focus on what you are becoming, not what you are, but what you're becoming. The shift keeps you going even when motivation fades. Trust me, I know. So my name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. I hope that I gave you some good food for thought, and do me a favor, subscribe, like, and share this video. Well, share this podcast. And I really appreciate you listening. It means a great deal to me. And I hope that I continue to give you good content to make you think and provoke thought, and to help you along with your daily stresses of the day, and even your daily actions, and helping you become a better person overall. I thank you so much for listening. Be blessed. And don't forget to stop back on Friday evening. I'll have a brand new poem for you on Poetry Friday. Be blessed. Have a great day. Bye-bye.